what is the difference between a RAV Anima and a handpan? I'll play them both for you now, see if you can hear some of the differences for yourself. Perhaps you can already hear the Anima is still ringing. The handpan has long since faded out. There's your first difference. Space. Sustain. Still going. So the biggest difference, the biggest quality about the Anima is that its sustain is absolutely incredible. It's so big, it's so expansive. The handpan also has a beautiful sustain, but it's a lot more controlled, it's a lot more subtle. So this encourages a bit more percussive playing, faster playing perhaps, whereas this encourages a little bit more of that gentleness and that spacious in playing. With that then, the RAV Anima can be played very, very, very simply and still sound beautiful because the instrument itself is beautiful. So as I demoed just there, I was just playing these tones on the top here. These tones on the very top of the instrument, the 5 tones in the center, are all chords. So when you strike one tongue, you're hearing 3 separate notes filling out that full chord. I'm going to stop it there for the sake of time. Whereas on the handpan, every note that you play, you're only playing a single note, like on the outside of this RAV here. Right? So if I wanted to play a chord, I need to use both hands. I need to use both hands, and on one of the hands, I need to use 2 fingers at the same time. So playing chords on the handpan is already a little bit more of an advanced technique. So it's not always the first thing that you do. Handpan sort of encourages more maybe single note playing, groovy playing, whereas the RAV encourages more chordal playing, which for me is wonderful because I'm a singer and I like to play with chords underneath what I'm doing. If I do play a simple chord, I've also got my other hand free to play around with some melodies. Handpan, I can do the same thing, I just need to have a little bit more dexterity. I'll play the same chords. So you can hear that even though I'm playing chords here, I'm actually breaking them up a little bit because I can't always have all of my hands, I've only got 2, both of my hands there at the same time. So I end up playing them in arpeggio, dum dum da, instead of just all 3 notes at the same time, which opens up a different level of creativity, but also means that you have to get good in order to play those chords. The RAV, it just works, the Anima. With that though, even though it is super simple, super basic, there's still so much room to then get more advanced and to explore and to do loads of stuff with all of that space that you've got. So if I play the same progression again, but I use this space in the center here to add some groove, and I use the notes around the outside to add some melody, then things can start to get really complex and interesting. Yeah, you can really go for it. And you can hear that as I'm starting to go for it, it's getting a little bit dense. There's a lot of sound happening now because of that sustain. That's one thing that is the sort of easy to play, difficult to master thing. Once you start wanting to get more complex, there's a certain level of control that you need to learn, muting techniques and how to fill space in different ways so that you're not overwhelming the sort of sustainy space above the instrument. That's like the next level. So there's more that you can work towards in order to be able to access more of what the instrument can do. And it is a little bit tricky to control that sustain because there's so much of it, but it's nice to have that challenge, I think. Likewise, with the handpan, it's sort of the opposite problem, is that it's easy to play really simple, beautiful melodies, but then if you want to fill all that space, you have to be able to do more. You need that dexterity. It's a different type of advanced skill. So yeah, in terms of space and sort of complexity, those are the two things that I feel between the two instruments. So another basic difference, of course, one big note in the middle on top, 5 big notes in the middle on top. What on earth does this mean? How on earth do these notes work with the scale around the outside? What's going on here that's different to the standard handpan layout? So on a handpan, you usually have the root note of your scale. In this case, this is a D minor handpan. I've got a D in the center. So if I'm playing this thing and I'm grooving, it's going to work with whatever note I play around the outside. Another difference that I've accidentally showcased here as well is you can get more of that percussive sound on the handpan. It's not as metallic, it's a bit more warm and dull on the Anima. Whereas the handpan, you've got more of that attack and that sort of power and thump and thud from the ding. So when I really want to groove, when I want to get really groovy, I always come to the handpan rather than the Anima. But that doesn't mean that you can't get groovy with the Anima, and as we've sort of explored already. Anyway, single note, all of the notes work. 5 different notes here, so not everything works with every note. Ooh, tension, right? But the outer ring here is based on the A Celtic scale, which is the Celtic is a very common scale on a handpan. And the reason it's so common is because it's so beginner friendly. So on your tongues on the top here, all of these tongues are actually labelled. This one's F, this one's G, this one's A, C, D. So with the knowledge that this is an A Celtic scale around the outside, if by the logic of this is a D minor, this is a D in the centre, this is an A minor, where's your A in the centre? Here it is. If you just play that A and then play around till the outside and ignore all of these, forget about that, then again, you've got a really easy entrance into playing beautiful stuff with this instrument in a way that's a bit more handpan-y, I guess, for want of a better phrase. I can bring other chords into it. So as you can see there, if I'm just focusing on that single note, doesn't matter what I do on the outside, doesn't matter how complex I get, how much I play around and move in different directions, it's always going to work. Then when you're ready for that next level, ready for that sort of more harmonic interest, then you can have a little go at exploring some of the other tongues. So from a sound point then, from a more sort of physical standpoint, the handpan is made of 2 stainless steel shells glued together with hammered notes and a sound hole in the bottom. That means that as you're playing this instrument, you're essentially hammering it with your fingers, right? And so you can sort of play it out of tune over time, and it is recommended that every couple of years you take it back to your builder and have it retuned. The RAV, however, 2 sheets of steel together, it doesn't have a sound hole at the bottom, it's closed. That's why it has such a wonderful sustain, because all of the sound is coming back up through these cut tongues here. And because the tongues are cut rather than hammered, it's super, super stable, it's super strong and solid. So you can travel with it easily, you can, I use, if I'm going to workshops with children or people who've never played an instrument before, I always take a RAV because they're much more sturdy than a handpan. You can play it in different temperatures, play it in sunlight and you won't have an issue. Handpan goes out of tune in the sun. It's also a little bit shallower than a handpan, so it's a bit more sort of transportable. So lots of the physical differences as well. One thing I will say though is it is heavier. Let me double check. Is that true? Yeah, it is heavier than a handpan. So even though it's more aerodynamic, if you like, it's more compact, I guess it's a thicker steel, so it is a little bit more heavy to transport, but it's easier to pack in like a car or whatever. Oh yeah, and you can also play it with mallets. Handpan, you can play with mallets, you just have to be a little bit careful with it. RAV, you can really go for it. Let's have a go, see what this sounds like. I forgot what I was doing there for a second. But yeah, you can play this thing with mallets, you can hit it as hard as you want, you're not going to break it. Don't hit it that hard though, because you don't need to. You actually barely need to touch it at all. And it really just wants to sing. So one final point then, the reason that I've been drawn to the Anima so much is that most of what I do with the handpan is what I played a lot before this thing was invented, is singing. I'm a songwriter and I write songs and I play and I sing. And while I'm singing, I'm doing all of these intricate patterns in order to achieve the chord progressions that I'm looking for. Then the Anima came around and I can do all of that with one strike of one finger. It just changes everything. It changes the vibe, of course. I really enjoy the complexities and the intricacies and the subtleties in playing arpeggio-based chords on the handpan. And so it does provide something a little bit different, but also just for the sake of ease and for the sake of being able to really explore and open my voice a lot more. I'm not having to think about what my hands are doing so much. Just playing the chords just with one hand, one finger, really changes everything, really opens up a lot. So I'm going to show you the first song that I ever wrote with this instrument. And yeah, I'll show you sort of the different elements that are a part of it. So the first element is, of course, melody. And then we'll add the chords, then we'll add the groove, and then we'll add the voice. excerpt there from my song I Shall Be Love, which is out everywhere if you want to hear the rest of it. Yeah, it's a wonderful instrument, and it is, playing wise, the technique wise, similar to the strike of a handpan, but inspiration wise and soundscape wise, really quite different, even more so than the RAV Vasts. And that's all I have to say. So I hope this was helpful to you. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer the sound of, if either. But I love them both so much. Both just such beautiful instruments. I'm so happy and excited and grateful that this new, wonderful, beautiful thing has arrived in my life. And I'm going to turn the camera off so I can go and play it now. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know which one you like in the comments, and I'll see you around in another video sometime soon.